What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review show as we drew 1-1 against Sporting of Lisbon yesterday at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Oh, where do you want to start, Sim? Where do you want to start? But I guess we'll start at the beginning of the game, first half.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of fans were very angry at half-time. And I think that rightly
Boos
so.
again.
Boos again, very loud boos, which I completely disagree with. But I think that the way we started the game was very poor. There was not enough movement going forward. It was all very lethargic, to sidewards and backwards and all that kind of stuff. But I think that, I know we went in 1-0 down, but we still had like a fair amount of chances in that first half, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a few. Kane had one. Lucas was played through by Kane as well. He probably should have done better. We had a few, like, apart from that Lucas chance, the other ones are a bit like half chances-ish. I think they all happened in, like, say, the first 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then after the first 20 minutes, we kind of stopped being so intense with our press. We kind of were being a bit lethargic. We were being very, very standoffish. We were, and it was really poor for the first, for the latter part of that half. We were kind of allowing Sporting Lisbon to dominate. We were allowing them to just play the ball around without much confrontation from our players. It was really hard to watch at times. They had that one chance through Paulinho, which he volleyed over the bar, which was poor. And then obviously they had the goal from Marcus Edwards, which again, our players were standing. I mean, it's a great goal, but the players are standing off him for far too long. We got two defenders there.
It's not only that. I mean, yeah, Romero keeps backing off. And
Davis as well.
And Davis. But where's Dyer? Dyer's absolutely nowhere to be seen. He got completely caught out. And then, you know, how many times is this going to happen with Eric Dyer? He just gets completely caught out in no man's land, and the other team take advantage. But it's still not good enough from Romero and Davis to keep backing off. Although I did think Romero had a fairly strong game on a whole, but in that moment was not great from him.
Yeah, and once we went 1-0 down, the confidence was sapping out the team from that in that latter part of the first half, and you could hear the crowd getting audibly frustrated with how the performance was going. I think they were frustrated in two phases. When Sporting had the ball, we were just not getting near them. We weren't pressing very intensely. We were kind of just jogging around and allowing Sporting to play it around, which was very frustrating. And then when we did have the ball, we were just kind of labouring side to side. We played to Dyer, then to Romero, who'd play back to Dyer, then to Davis, to Bentancur, back to Dyer. It was like going nowhere, basically. It was just sideways and backwards without getting the forward players involved, and the crowd were getting very frustrated with that. And I think that's what led to, at half-time, those frustrations basically bore out at half-time when we were 1-0 down, playing that way on and off the ball in a really disappointing manner, and that led to the boos.
Why does it keep happening, though? Why does it keep happening? Why do we keep playing first halves like this? I mean, we get it at the back, getting it in possession, passing it around the back, and there's just no movement at all in front of them. I mean, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah. No, it's not good enough. And it was interesting to hear Hugo Lloris talk after the game, and he said that given the current schedule, it's very difficult to play at the intensity that we want to play for the whole 90 minutes. And he said that you're going to have to go through 20 to 30 minute periods in the game where you're not as intense as we want to be. And it's our job in those moments to make sure we're not conceding chances, so that when we do play, we do get to that intensity that we want to, and we do get on top, we can take full advantage as opposed to chasing the game. And that was interesting to hear him say that, because that kind of hinted as to why maybe our games have been pretty much played in periods a lot of the time this season, where we have had periods where we're on top and looking intense, and then we've had a lot of periods as well where we're playing deep and we're just being compact, and we're not kind of putting a lot of risk and playing very pragmatic. So it was interesting.
For other teams, though, are other teams like going in waves as well, like we are, or is it just us at the moment, or is it just like a Conte tactic?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. I think the big difference, for example, when you look at someone like a team like Arsenal, just for example, I think the big difference between them and us, obviously we have different styles of football. That's obvious. But when it comes to the pressing and being very intense, they have a very, very young team, and it's a lot easier to keep up that kind of intensity for longer periods when you have a younger team who are a lot fresher and have boundless amounts of energy, especially when you look at the front line. That's the most important thing for me. Their front line is Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, Odegaard, all very, apart from Jesus who's 25, they're all quite very young players.
He's fairly young.
And he's fairly young. So they can literally run all day. It reminds me, as we said before, the reason why it reminds me of that Pochettino team isn't because they play in a similar way. It's because the intensity of how fresh they are as a young team. They can just run all day. I remember that Pochettino team, they used to suffocate teams for 90 minutes and literally just run for 90 minutes, and it was hard to live up to. Now, the problem we have is that obviously when we have Kane, Son and Lucas, who are now either 30 or approaching 30, it's not to say they're bad players and they can no longer press, but they have to be smarter. They have to manage themselves. They have to manage their body. When you get to that age, it's only natural. As Kane and Son, as good as they are and as brilliant as they are two of the best forwards in Europe. They can't press for 90 minutes. That's just reality, I think, at this stage. I think they have to choose, they have to pick their moments when they can really press intensely and when they have to manage themselves. And especially with Kane, who he knows, he's picked up various amount of injuries in the years gone by. He knows that he has to be smarter now and he has to manage himself. And I think every player does when they approach that age. And I think that's maybe a lot of the times what we're seeing, while we can't press from the front as intensely all the whole 90 minutes as we can, when we do it, we look good, but it seems as though we can't do it for 90 minutes. And a lot of the time it's because the team that we have just isn't that young team anymore, and that's a big part of it.
Conte mentioned at the end of the last game against Newcastle that, if we weren't in Europe, if we only had one game a week, we could fight for something important. Do you think that if we did have one game a week, then we could press for the majority of the game?
Yeah, that helps. Of course it helps, because having an extra game leads to more fatigue, of course, and especially with Kane and Son when they have to play every minute because they're so heavily relied upon, and especially now with Richarlison and Kulusevski injured, 100% that plays into it. If we had a bigger squad, it would be less of a problem. Even though we did get more depth in the summer, it's still not enough depth for what we need, and especially now with the injuries we have. Of course, it's going to hurt us. That's not to say if we had Kulusevski and Richarlison both fit right now, it would be less of a problem. I really believe that, because you could alternate. You could give Son a rest here and there, like we did against Leicester. Even Kane potentially one game. You could put Richarlison up front, but right now we can't do that. We have to heavily rely on them, and obviously that's going to hurt us, no doubt about it. So playing 2 games a week, look, that's all top teams have to do it, so you can't complain about it, but that's going to hurt us right now. Not to say in the second half of the season, if we get through in the Champions League and maybe we have a signing or two and we get the players back fit, maybe it'll be less of a problem, but right now 100% it is a problem.
Yeah, and you can definitely see that bearing out. In terms of the stats from the game, let's have a look at the first half stats.
One
anyway.
Sec. I think it's disconnected. Let me just reconnect. Yeah, got... Yeah, just give us a sec. There you go. All right. Yeah, okay. So that's the stats overall. So as you can see, overall, it was much more in our favour. We had 18 shots, 7 on target, 8 off target, compared to theirs, 10 shots, 4 on target, 6 off target. Big chances, all 3 each, to be fair. So they did have some big chances during the game. But if you look at the first half, it's such a difference. So the first half, to be fair, it's not like they completely dominated, but it was a much more even game. We had 4 shots, they had 4 shots. We had 2 on target, they had 1 on target. Big chances, they had 1 big chance, we didn't have any big chances. Shots inside the box, they had 3, we had 2.
Was this overall the first half?
This is just first half.
Yeah.
We had 4 shots each, so it's not like they were like battering us, but it was definitely like a close game. And even if
like, what people are angry about is not that we were being dominated, it's just that we weren't doing anything in the game. We were just passing it sideways, backwards. There was no movement. It looked so lethargic. That was the issue. I don't think it was an issue that they were battering us or anything, and you can see that in the timeline there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you look at the progress bar, or whatever you want to call it, obviously they scored, but it was very much fairly even in terms of like threat, chances created. Maybe you would probably argue Sporting was slightly better, but I don't think there was much in it in that first half, apart from obviously the goal. But then you look at the second half, just look at the stats. It's complete difference. We had 14 shots compared to their 6. 5 on target. We had 3 big chances in that second half, missing 2 of them. But to be fair, on the breakaway, they also had 2 big chances. So they would argue they would argue that they could have had the game sealed even at 1-0. They had some chances to seal the game on the breakaway. But definitely we were having the better of it. We were having the more chances. And if you look at the progress bar, look at that. Look how much of a difference that is. It's literally all Spurs, apart from there's a little spell there you can see near the end of the game where Sporting got on the counter, which was when their chance. But if you pretty much the whole half was Tottenham.
But those chances they did have on the counter
were good chances,
big chances. You know what I mean? Lloris comes rushing out. They have an open goal. What did you make out of that Lloris?
No, that everyone comes back to that. He was offside. The flag was up, so he came. True. Yeah, so he came rushing out, but the guy was offside. But the ones that they did have were, I think it was Gomez was played through 1-on-1, and Lloris made a massive save to keep the score at 1-0. And then I can't remember who it was. There was a player on the right hand side had a shot across the face of goal. Lloris palmed it back into their striker, and he kind of had an empty net, and he rushed the finish and he put it wide. So those were 2 big opportunities they had to make it 2-0, which probably would have sealed the game. But before that and after that, their keeper was making some really big saves.
He was, and you could see the complete attitude and from the fans and from on the pitch completely changed as soon as the players came out for that second half. I mean, from the first minute we were going straight at them, creating chances. Probably should have got back into it in the first 10 minutes of the second half, to be honest. But it took us all the way down till the 80th minute to go and equalise. Brilliant goal. Corner comes in from Ivan Perisic. Bentancur leaps above their goalkeeper, heads it into the back of the net. A lot of people thought it was a foul and stuff like that, but I mean, how can you say that was a foul? That was the cleanest header.
At the time, I was a bit worried because obviously when a keeper gets challenged like that, or when it looked like it, obviously he was complaining, the goalkeeper, he was angry. 9 times out of 10, when you see something like that happen at a corner, the foul usually gets given. But I was having seen the replay, it's a clear goal. Bentancur just out-jumps Adnan, who had a brilliant game, you have to say. He was making a series of saves before that. It looked like it was going to be his day. But I think he just flapped at it. Bentancur just jumped. He didn't even have his arms on him or anything. He literally out-jumped him, and that was it. He headed it home, 1-1. And it's really impressive as well that at 1-1, we got the goal fairly late on with 10 minutes to go. And the amount of chances we created in that last 10 minutes was crazy. We created so many. Dyer had 2 gilt-edge chances. So we had Bentancur with a gilt-edge chance, and then we obviously had the goal with Harry Kane. So
Dyer actually could have scored a hat-trick yesterday.
Yeah, he should have scored a hat-trick.
He had that one early in the second half, didn't he? But that was a much harder chance than the other 2. But the other 2 were point-blank range. You've got to be putting those away. At least one of them, you know what I mean? Like, they were so easy, those chances.
Yeah, that one where he hooked a volley, hooked a volley over his shoulder, which would have been a nice finish, but it was a good save from the keeper. Then obviously he had that one which was an absolute peach of a cross from Son from that free kick. Yeah. What a free kick that was.
Amazing.
That was a cross of the night, I think. A brilliant cross from Son. How he didn't put that away, I don't know. And then he had that header from Longley. What a brilliant ball from Longley as well. That was really good build-up between Perisic and Longley. Longley gets in behind, does a really great cutback, and Dyer again missed it. So there was 3 unbelievable misses from Dyer.
Yeah, another talking point of the game yesterday was Bryan Hill comes on. I thought he definitely added something extra to our play yesterday. He was getting in some really good attacking positions, taking on his man, getting crosses in the box, and he influenced the game in a positive manner yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you can even represent this. If I show you something on Twitter, one sec. Let me just get it up. I think I liked it. Here. So this is our expected threat. that purple line here, as you can see, that represents when Bryan Gil came on as a sub. And look how much of a difference he made. We were so much more threatening as soon as he came on, compared the green bit is Spurs and the orange bit is
and it
Lisbon.
wasn't coincidence as well, because sometimes you make a change and doesn't make any relevance to the player, but you improve your performance in the last part of the game. But Gil was actually involved in pretty much everything going forward, and it was great to see.
Yeah, I was really happy with him. Not only was he giving the energy, which he always does, the boundless amounts of energy and winning the ball back and making tackles. He was actually, first of all, he was helping us. What do you call it? He was helping us suffocate Sporting throughout the game by pressing high and helping us keep that energy there. Not only was he doing that, but he was winning free kicks. He won the free kick, which led to that brilliance on free kick we're talking about, which Dyer had the header. He was being a threat from dribbling situations on the right hand side as well. He helped linking up with the players on the right hand side. He should have had an assist when he lays one off for Bentancur really well, and he just seemed he brought new ideas to the table. He was in swinging crosses, some of them dangerous, some of them not, but he was just bringing new stuff to the table, and it was a breath of fresh air, him on the pitch, to be honest. I was really happy with him. It's not like he had loads of shots or anything like that and it looked like scoring, but he just added an extra element to the creation and the energy, and he really benefited the team when he was on there.
Yeah, and we really needed it at the time, and he did a really good job for the team. In terms of people calling for him to start for Bournemouth, what would you say to them? Because me personally, it's very different playing in Europe, first of all, than playing in the Premier League. The Premier League is super, super physical. I know it's against a Bournemouth side, but they're more physical than maybe they were last time they were in the Premier League. And I think that people still need to calm down a bit with Gil. It's a couple of good cameos in European games, but physically he's still not there, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I do completely agree with everything you're saying, but I would start him because we need him, because we don't have Kulusevski, we don't have Richarlison. Lucas, I thought, was terrible. He was really frustrating yesterday.
He really was.
And we just need a bit more support for Kane and Son going forward. I wouldn't want us to play 3-5-2 against Bournemouth. I do want to play the 3-4-3, because I think we do in general going forward look better in that formation right now anyway. So from that point of view, as much as I don't think Gil's the saviour, I just think having him there might benefit the team more positively, and maybe it could be a case of because sometimes a manager for one reason or another just either doesn't fancy a player or doesn't think he's up to it, and then through injury or for a bit of luck, they just get a run in the team, and all of a sudden that can change. And maybe this is Gil's time. Maybe this is something that can change for him.
For me, I was saying this to you last night, I feel like he would help the team more coming on when we're pushing for a goal, maybe the last half an hour, last 20 minutes, against a bit of tiring legs, because he's just a bundle of energy. And I feel like maybe if he started the game with everyone, not using up any energy, he might get a bit lost in the game at times because of his physicality. But I think coming on in the last 20 minutes could be a different kettle of fish, where he's coming on against tired legs.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't start him in Marseille, but Marseille is now a massive game, so we can't afford at the moment to rest players in that game. So we have to go full strength, and I don't know if any of our strikers like Kulusevski or Richarlison are going to be fit for that. But if they are, we're going to have to play them there. And I would play Gil against Bournemouth. Give him a chance. He's come on. He's benefited the team positively. I'm not saying he's the saviour, but I would give him a chance against Bournemouth. I don't see the harm in doing that, considering he's benefited the team. And the fact that Lucas was terrible. So why not just give him a go? And if it's not working, you have Lucas to come on anyway, and maybe he can be a good player to come on as a sub. So I would. I'm not saying that Gil's now should be a starter, but I'm saying I would start him against Bournemouth and give him a go and see how he does. And I think he's I wouldn't say earn a start, but I would say it wouldn't do. I think it's just good to see what you can do from the beginning, and maybe it could benefit us and just take the burden a bit creatively off Kane.
We're saying 3-4-3 with Gil on the right.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Give it a go.
I know you got a lot of things to say about the next topic in terms of Emerson Royale's cameo yesterday with his no-look pass, but to be fair to them, he was the one that got the assist for the offside goal.
I mean, it's hard to call that an assist when he plays it backwards off a Sporting player and it deflects into Kane's path. You know what I mean?
Give him the credit. Come on, man.
I don't even know if FPL would have given him that assist, let alone anyone else. But I thought he had a shocking cameo, to be honest. I was really disappointed with him. I was about to show the no-look pass, but apparently it's been taken down, that video, so I can't show it. But
everyone's seen it.
Everyone's seen it. I mean, at the time I was in the stadium, obviously, and he did that pass. I didn't know it was a no-look pass at the time. It was at a time, I'm not sure if it was at 1-0 or 1-1, I can't remember, but obviously we're desperate for a goal, and it was such a simple pass in behind to Brian Hill, who was on the run, and he overhits it. Such a simple pass, right? A non-league player could have played that pass, and that was really frustrating. And then to see on social media later on that he's actually done a no-look pass to try and be a bit flashy, and he does it and then overhits it. I mean, how stupid you have to be in that kind of situation.
There's nothing you can do to make that seem any better than it is. Like every time you look at that no-look pass from Emerson, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Like, what the hell are you doing at that stage in the game when we're pushing for a goal? To do that, and not only to do that, but for it to just trickle out of play as well.
Yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible. And then he had another moment as well. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Lucas. I think he does like a nice little clever pass over his head, and then Emerson turns and just and he sticks out a leg and he just fouls one of the Lisbon players, and it went again from a moment of us putting them under pressure to Lisbon having a bit of reprieve and having a free kick, and that was also really frustrating.
Conte's reaction to the no-look pass.
Yeah,
it's just like, what the hell are you doing?
I know he was not happy.
What are you doing?
He was not happy. So I thought it wasn't a great cameo from Emerson. I don't know why in that situation when we need a goal, why not just give Spence a run? I don't know. He would rather Emerson there than Spence. I commended Conte because at 1-0 when he brought on Hill, it would have been very easy to bring Hill on for Lucas and keep Doherty there, but he actually went really attacking, put Lucas at wing back, put Hill in that number 10 position and really went for it. But unfortunately, he was let down by Lucas, who I thought was really poor in the number 10 position, and he was really poor at wing back as well, and he had to come off and he lost energy near the end as well. So it was a really poor Lucas performance where we really needed him to step up. And one thing's really frustrating, again, sometimes Lucas gets in this mode, and it was in this mode yesterday, whenever he gets the ball, he has to beat someone. He has to take someone on before releasing it. Lucas, and it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating because you see Kane and especially some of the other players who make really clever passes, who know where the opposition are. They know when it's time to dribble and time to pass. But Lucas just thinks it's always time to dribble, always. And then once he's got past someone, then he can pass it. And he can't pass it unless he's beaten someone. And it leads to some really frustrating situations. And then there was one moment where he did really well, and he finally beat his man and got beyond and got on the right hand side. And all he had to do was put a good cross across the face of goal, and he decides to shoot from a tight angle instead of crossing it, and the chance was gone. So it was even when he did do something good, it ended off with something bad. So I thought, very frustrating for Lucas.
I thought Lucas was very frustrating yesterday. I thought the majority of the team were frustrating. Look at Højbjerg, I thought Højbjerg was horrible in that first half. He couldn't do anything right, to be honest, and he was getting a bit dominated in that first half. Second half, he came alive, and he went through that kind of darting run through the middle of the park, and from there it seemed like spark life into the whole Tottenham team, and he had a brilliant performance from them, driving the team forward. And the same with Bentancur. Well, Bentancur was absolutely brilliant all game, to be honest. He was a shining light throughout the game, and again, like, he's the one that got us the goal, obviously, and he also as well was driving through the heart of their midfield, driving through the heart of their defence a few times, to be honest, Bentancur. And we're seeing in this like new version of Bentancur the last few games, or the last few weeks, even the last few months, to be honest. And he's been our best player this season, I think. I think that even you could say he's been better than Højbjerg, to be honest.
Recently, I wouldn't say over the whole season. Recently, I definitely think he's been better than Højbjerg. And he's had and to be fair, he's had a strong season overall. I would say overall, I still think Højbjerg's been better. But Bentancur's
definitely up there in the running when you're talking about player of the season so far. He's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, and I think he's recently he's really stepped up, especially at times where we've been quite poor. He's been like our only shining light. And yesterday, I wouldn't say he was our only shining light, but I think he was our best player, and he was actually making runs beyond the Sporting defence. He nearly got an assist for one of Dyer's chances as well. Obviously, he got the goal. from the header. I thought he was great. I was really happy with Bentancur. I thought his passing was crisp, and he was as well. Even I think later on, I think Basuma was stripped off, but I think in the end he decided not to bring him on because Bentancur was just doing such a good job for the team. Even though I think his legs were tired near the end, I thought he was thinking of bringing him off, but he still he kept him on. He did a brilliant job and tireless job. When it comes to Højbjerg, I thought when it came to Højbjerg for the first hour or so, I was like, okay, maybe I'm seeing why he was rested, because he looked so leggy. He looked really tired. He wasn't getting close to anyone. He wasn't getting forward. He wasn't taking people on.
Where the hell did he find that energy from?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really strange. It was like all of a sudden he found energy from somewhere, and then he became really energetic, and he was closing people down. He was running beyond the Sporting defender. He was dribbling and doing really good stuff on the ball. And I thought for that last half an hour, I thought he was actually our best player. I thought he was really good. I was really happy with him. And same, I think, maybe you could say for Perisic, who wasn't amazing for an hour or so. And he actually had, again, Session was stripped off, ready to come on. And then for the last half an hour, for the last bit of the game, he started taking on his man and getting some really dangerous crosses in there and actually started being dangerous, and obviously got an assist and should have maybe could have a bit of an assist for the second goal as well with a really deep cross. And I thought he ended the game really strongly. We did end the game strongly, and obviously we got that goal, which was disappointingly ruled out. But there was some really good positives and good performances to take in there. But in terms of the goal, I guess let's discuss it. Let's look at the still image you can see from yesterday. That is the offside, which I think it's just so frustrating, isn't it?
Kane is offside. Kane is offside, but I mean. And automated goal line technology was used. Semi-automated goal line offsides were used, right? And the reason why it took so long for them to make the decision, because they were trying to see if it was a deliberate act from that.
Why is that taking 4 minutes to decide? I don't
understand why that's taking 4 minutes. And if it's taken 4 minutes, like surely that there's like it's not clear and obvious as well.
But then that goes down to clear and obvious. I understand.
An offside doesn't go down to clear and obvious, but like the intentional action of the defender does. Surely.
Exactly, that has to go down to clear and obvious. So if they can't decide whether he's done that a deliberate action or not, and it's fallen to Kane like that, I think if it's taking 4 minutes and it's not clear and obvious, and they should give the goal. You could argue either way. It's a close call, to be fair, whether you think that's a deliberate action or not. But I think that in that case, they probably should have stuck with the on-field decision if they were taking 4 minutes to decide whether it was a clear and obvious call. It was just so frustrating, the amount of time it took when they had the semi-automated offsides, so they would have decided that very, very quickly. The images don't, look how pixelated the ball is in that image. It's so difficult to see the ball there. So very frustrating where they've decided to draw the line, or whether it's the right frame and all these kind of things. Did they even take into account the Sporting defender's leg? I can't see it. I don't know where his foot is. I haven't seen the other angle where his leg is. So that's also frustrating.
There is too much doubt. There's too much doubt everywhere in this picture. You know what I mean? There are so many different little things like you can question just by looking at that picture.
You know,
it's a joke.
They obviously they say the direction of the ball doesn't make a difference in offside, but it's still frustrating the fact the ball went backwards and it's still being given offside, and the fact it was literally the last kick of the game, and he blew the final whistle literally as soon as the game restarted, which was also very frustrating.
The fact of the matter, though, is right. No matter what you think of this decision, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke that we let it get to that stage. We should have won this game.
Yeah, we should have had it wrapped up. We should have had it wrapped up. Definitely. Of course we should have, and no doubt about it. We had the chances. I remember turning to you once Dyer missed that chance from Longley. It was inside the 6-yard box. All you had to do was get it on target. And I remember saying to you, like, we've had the chances to win this. Like, it's not a case of not creating. Like, for example, against Newcastle, I remember saying after the game, I don't know if I said it on stream or somewhere, I was like, look, it's I was so disappointed because in those last half an hour, once we got the goal, like we literally didn't create anything. And like, even if the keeper's made a few saves and you've given it a good go, you can kind of accept that. But we literally created no chances whatsoever. But against Lisbon, it was opposite. We had so many chances. We created loads. The keeper had a brilliant game. We missed so many gilt-edged chances that we only have ourselves to blame when it comes to not getting the result. Well, we created the chances for ourselves. But on the flip side, at least it's positive we did create the chances, and we actually were looking creative, and we went up until the very last second when we did actually get the goal, which obviously was ruled out, but like that shows the fight in this team and the character, which you have to take as a positive.
Yeah, you do. It's just very frustrating not to get over the line when we were so dominant as we were in that second half, and the whole VAR madness. But then obviously Conte gets sent off. There's a whole melee by the touchline and stuff like that. Conte gets sent off for being on the pitch, but everyone's on the pitch, so why does he send off everyone?
If you heard Stellini after the game, he's like, why red card? It was everyone's on the pitch. Why are you sending him off? It's not a red card. Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, because why has he singled him out?
But that ref, man, that ref is an absolute son of a bitch. I swear, his smile as he's smiling at Højbjerg and Conte and everyone while he's sending him off is, oh man, it makes me sick. It makes me sick. And it's the same referee team, the same officiating team that was in Madrid 19, the final in Madrid in the Champions League. So they've done us over twice now.
Yeah, I really don't want them ever again refereeing one of our games.
Guy's
so
face,
annoying.
though, I swear I had nightmares of that referee's face last night.
Oh, it's so annoying. Yeah, the way he's just smiling in Dyer's face.
Oh my God, that up his own arse smile did me in yesterday. What a son of a bitch. Anyway, we need to move on, otherwise I'm going to go deeper and deeper into this ref. But look, I think that's the match review. Thank you everyone for joining us for that. We've got
go on.
We've got a super chat here from Scorpions fans for life saying, I was at the game but disappointed. First half was terrible, passing slow, and we didn't use our wing backs at all. Kane quiet, Lucas was frustrating again. Yeah, that's all true, but it all completely changed in that second half, and we thoroughly deserved to win that game yesterday. Thoroughly deserved.
Just in terms of the Champions League group now, as it stands, I guess we'll get it up. We can get it up on the phone. Can we put it up? Yeah. This is the group going to the last day. Tottenham obviously do sit. Where's it gone now? There it is. Tottenham do sit top of the group as things stand. So that's a positive position to be in. We are only 1 point better off Sporting and Frankfurt, with Marseille only 2 points behind us now, sitting in bottom place. So there's only 2 points between bottom and top.
We just need a draw.
We are this is the tightest group in the Champions League right now. It doesn't get much tighter than this. The reality is we go away in Marseille next week. We do only need a draw to qualify. We also are guaranteed a Europa League spot, whatever happens. Whatever happens next week, which you can either celebrate or cry about, but that's the reality.
I'd rather be out of Europe altogether than be in the Europa League with the state of our squad this season.
Yeah, I agree. But that's where we are. And then, so obviously going to be I'll definitely guaranteed Europa League. If we lose next week, there are I have to do some more research. There's conflicting things. I've heard if Sporting and Frankfurt draw 0-0 and we lose, we still qualify. But I've also heard we will be out, so I'm not 100% sure which one's true. I have to look it up. But I've heard both things. I don't know if the comments let me know if you've heard anything.
Explain this mini league thing that you were talking to me about.
So
yesterday.
Well, if Frankfurt, if Spurs lose and Frankfurt and Lisbon draw, then we go into a mini league with just Frankfurt and Sporting. And basically how it works is it's a mini league between those three and only takes in the account those 3 games. So basically it's kind of as if Marseille didn't exist. So we take out any of the Marseille results and we just go into a mini league with that. And only the games between those 3 teams count.
So we can't finish below Frankfurt unless they finish on more points than us because of the head-to-head, right? But does that come into account in that mini league?
I think the mini league, I'm not sure it goes to head in the mini league. I think that goes like goal difference, points.
Right.
That goes points.
Right.
Goal. I think goal difference and stuff like that, which then complicates things. So I think it might go down to like goals scored if we lose.
Let's just get a draw, please. Let's just get a
draw.
Please.
If we draw it through, and if we draw and Frankfurt and Lisbon also draw, we do qualify as group winners. If we draw and there's a winner between Frankfurt and Lisbon, we go through second place. So And if we win, obviously we'll go through as group winners as well. So let's just hope we get that point next week. But I'm just worried because, first of all, our away record in Europe is rubbish, so that's one thing to worry about. Second of all, is how many times have you seen Spurs just rely on one game to get the job done, and just either something goes wrong or we just don't turn up on the day, and all of a sudden we're out. It happens so many times.
Antonio Conte, though, back end of last season, just got to channel that mentality.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, but like, for example, like, when you're relying on one game, you're just relying on so many variables that can change. What happens if one of Son or Kane, pull up against Bournemouth or something? What happens if there's a dodgy red card which shouldn't have been a red card, like early on in the game against Marseille? You know what I mean?
The place out. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go there, play proper pragmatic, and try and nick a goal from somewhere.
We're just going to have to make sure that we're not conceding any goals in this game. Keep a clean sheet and we qualify. That's how maybe we've got to see it.
Yeah.
But then again, you're at the risk of, if it's 0-0, you imagine it being 0-0 up until the last 10 minutes, how we'll be shitting it, you know what I mean? So you don't want that situation either. So it's going to be a nervy one, I feel, next week at Marseille. In our favour, though, the fact that it's only a half-full stadium, the atmosphere shouldn't be as intense as it usually is. And I think they recently lost a home game, last week against Lens.
Didn't we lose in the Conference League or Europa League in front of no fans away from home against like these terrible teams? So like, I wouldn't.
No, there were fans in the Conference League.
There were fans?
Yeah.
In every single game? Was it the Conference League or Europa League? Who were we in when it was
Europa League? Europa League. I think Zagreb.
Zagreb.
And we had no manager in prison. Don't even.
Look, just go there and get a bloody point next week. That's all I ask. Is that so much to ask? Just go get a point. Jesus
Shouldn't
Christ.
be. It should look. We should be okay. That's the reality. But when it's Tottenham, you just when those words should be okay just aren't in our vocabulary. That's the thing.
Anyway, look, that's the state of play in the group. That's the match review. Let's go on and let's take some callers. And first up is Brian Daigle.
Good morning, boys, and everyone. Also, say good afternoon where you are. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Still trying to get over last night. How did you take it yesterday?
Yeah, the first half was abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. I mean, you guys that were there, I felt sorry for. It was just so stop, start. We didn't look like we had any...
We had a nice tifo, though.
Yeah, no, mate, do you know what? I actually tweeted that, and people had a go at me for saying, well done on the team. Because I went, no pressure, no commitment, no desire, blah, blah, blah. But I said, but hey, the tifo was nice. I got ridiculed for saying, why am I being so negative? It was done by kids. I was complimenting it. I was actually complimenting it. But yeah, it was. But the second half was much better. Much better. Yeah. Still wasn't brilliant, but it was a lot better, the commitment there. And I agree with you. Brian Hill certainly put in a good account of himself. And he started to put in these little cameos where I don't think, like Simeon said, I don't think he's the solution. And he's not the answer to our prayers, but you saw some creativity there. You really
start
did.
For you next game?
For Bournemouth, yeah. I mean, Lucas Moura, there's a reason for years I've called him the Brazilian Darren Huckabee, because he literally just puts his head down and runs and has no idea where he's going.
Don't tell John Cooper, mate. Don't tell John Cooper.
Well, mate, mate, you got to remember, I was part of that Mora's sexual group, but we've got to call it as it is. Yeah. Do you know what? He can either be electric or he's the other way. And sometimes he can run with the ball and do wonderful things, but the final ball is terrible. Or he gets the ball and he just runs straight into someone.
Let's be honest, though, Brian. When's the last time he's had an electric game?
Mate, yeah, the last electric thing I think he did is scoring that banger he scored against Norwich around Christmas time. When he scored that banger.
Point. So around a year ago, basically.
Yeah, basically. But that's it. But this is it. That's the standard. That's the standard of the squad at the moment, isn't it? Especially with Kulusevski, Richarlison, whatever out. But yeah, I'm talking about the game today. The defence. I mean, I didn't know whether to blame Lloris for the goal. I mean, for me, it's more people are saying it's Lloris's angles, his positioning, which I think you can argue to a bit. But I think when Mark Edwards got the ball, he rode a challenge, and the defence just sat back, didn't they? They kind of invited the shot on.
Look,
yeah, and, just quickly, when you, in terms of Lloris, the ball did go nestle into the side netting. You know what I mean? It wasn't right in the corner.
Yeah, mate. When you say that, I'm like with Harry Kane. With Harry Kane, the amount of goals he has scored out of his colossal amount of goals for club and country that hit the side netting, and you know, like when they say when you take a penalty or you hit the side netting, the goalkeeper won't get it. So I'm more on. It's more of the defensive.
Yeah, you got to look at Eric Dyer being in no man's land, completely out of position, getting caught out once again, and Romero and Davis for keep backtracking, not going to engage.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the defense. I mean, the midfield parted like the Red Sea.
Yeah,
and he was just Marcus Edwards, who
you
is
have to give
now
credit to Edwards as well. It's a great goal.
Oh, mate, do you know what credit, mate? I fully expect him to be back in the Premier League within 2 years, whether it be back with us or with another team. He's doing bits in Portugal. Seems to have found his role and his position, and he's looking like a terrific youngster that's going to come through, and he deserves to if he gets the chance to come back to the Premier League to show what he can do. The one thing I will say about Hugo Lloris though is in the second half he did one of his. He punched it when he should have caught it, and then I'm surprised you didn't hear the Benny Hill music in the stadium when he came charging out in the last.
Oh, is he gone?
Well, it looks like Lloris is
saved some reprieve from Brian.
Exactly, Lloris is managing our internet today.
Oh, there he's back.
He's back, is he?
No, we lost you. We lost you for a sec, Brian.
You're still frozen. Oh, no, you're all right. Bring him back on. Yeah, bring him back on.
Hello.
You're back. You're
Hello.
back.
Yeah, I don't know where it cut out, but yeah, that
you said Lloris and then it cut out.
Of his area. But like we said, the most important thing that is good is Bentancur is looking sensational. Has it gone again?
No, you're still there. Brian? Oh, maybe it has gone. Has he gone?
What's going on? Can he not hear us? Can you?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Oh, Jesus.
So you can't hear us.
There's a big lag.
I can hear you.
There's a big lag. There's a big lag.
Okay.
All right, Brian, I think we're going to have to cut you off here because there's a massive lag. Massive lag.
No worries. No worries.
Put your right hand up if you can hear me. That's
okay,
all right.
it's no lag.
All right. All right, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm fine?
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay, so I've completely lost. Oh yeah, no, the positives. I mean, what I was saying is Bentancur, for me, you know, when the club announced Player of the Month and stuff, I think Bentancur wins this hand down this month. He's been sensational.
Yeah, agreed.
We're all talking about it. What the hell was Emerson doing?
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, what? I mean, literally, the guy.
You're talking about the Benny Hill music for Lloris. What about the Benny Hill music for Emerson Royale? Week in, week out.
I don't even know what music we need to give Emerson when he's doing stuff, because the guy can't pass when he's looking, let alone a no-look pass. It was just shambolic.
Conte, I think Conte should just do like a no-look team selection on Saturday. Just don't even look at Emerson when he tells him he's not on the bench.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Do you know what? That's not a bad idea. But do you know what? You know that Emerson knows he's under pressure from the Spurs fans, and people question his position, his attacking play, his crossing, his whatever. He's just come back from a suspension. Just do the basics. Just do the basics and say, right, you know what? I'm going to go back to basics and do what I've got to do and try and build from something and get some consistency. But to try and look, mate, the guy was like 3-4 yards away from him. I don't even know why did it even enter his head?
It's
and then you can see, I mean,
it's the Brazilian in him, Dago. It's the Brazilian.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then I think you can see the Italian in Conte afterwards when he was going like that.
Yeah.
And I think when they got back into the changing room, he may have had some words. But yeah, listen, like I said, this VAR, the thing I want to talk about as well is VAR. There's got to be something done about this. Why is it in the World Cup and the Euros it's done like that, but in the Premier League or in Europe, these things are taking the time they're taking. It's getting beyond the joke now. I even said to Bob and Nick yesterday, it's getting to the point now where I'd rather go back to the old days when we didn't even have it.
Mm.
I really would. Like,
what did you make out of the decision as in general though yesterday?
Do you know what? It's so tight that I can see it on both sides of the camp.
Yeah.
I really can. But do you know what it is as well? What they need to do is, I remember back in the day, and we're not talking long ago, where if you were level, you're onside. That's it. That's it. If you level, you're on, blah, blah, blah. And then the amount of changes with this handball and everything, there are so many, when it's that fraction, and we're talking microscopic, then I think you've got to give it on the attacking, like we used to on the side of the attacker, or set a time limit where if a VAR decision isn't made in, let's say, 90 seconds, then you go with the referee's decision. Because obviously, if you're looking at it that closely and taking that long, it's not an obvious or clear error. You know what I mean? It's like, well, this is what VAR was called in for. And that's what I think we've got to do. Either you go with the referee's decision in a time limit, or we just go back to the day. I know if you look at it, how many decisions roughly a season went against you before VAR? Like obvious ones. You can talk about the
Spurs more than others.
Yeah, well, Spurs. Well, this is the thing. There'll probably be a rule change after this one now, because it always happens. We're like the pioneers for it. Yeah. Like you said, mate, Ben, like you were saying about the referee. I mean, there's obviously, I don't even know. There's controversy with some referees and some teams, whatever. Should this refereeing team have even got that after looking over years and years of that footage and see that so many other handballs haven't been given in that kind of Sissoko kind of mould? There's like, oh, you can come and ref again and do something like that. And
I don't want to see that smug face ever again. I really don't.
Yeah, it should be allowed if you've had like a really negative game or negative impact. And I'm not just like I'm talking if that had happened for us. If it had been, let's say, a Liverpool player, Jordan Henderson had that handball, and we got the penalty. I still think that guy shouldn't come and be able to referee us because he has had a major effect in a huge moment, and it's not right. I mean, there's enough referees that they could have assigned that referee to another game and his team, and I just think it seriously needs to be looked into. Like I said yesterday, with they talk about bringing professionals into like ex-footballers into VAR. Yeah. You've then got to start looking. Well, if that player represents one team, and let's say they're in a relegation battle, and it's the referee in a team or VAR for another team that it could get dragged into it, does he start to get swayed? Is he going to be partial? It's a mess. I'm up for setting a time limit or abolishing it because it's just causing more problems than it's going to solve.
All right, Brian, and just before you go, I think I found the perfect music for when Emerson Royale gets the ball. Maybe they should play over the speakers at Spurs. You know that music in Jaws, every time Jaws is about to make an attack. Every time Emerson gets the ball because he fucking scares the life out of all of us.
Well, do you know what, Ben? Just very quickly before I go, do you remember when John Cooper and I used to do our thing where we did watch-alongs of the fan shows? We used to do like the Dream Team and say the ones. Yeah. I think that's what you need to do with every caller now in this thing. Ask them what would be the Emerson music. That's what you need to do. But George is a good shout.
Big up, Brian. We'll see you very soon. And speak to you very soon.
You will see me very, very soon, guys. Love to all. Speak to you later. Have a great day. And I'm not going to bother saying it today because I haven't mentioned him. So have a great day, everyone. Peace.
Come on, you Spurs.
Nice one, Brian.
Big up. All right, let's move on. Oh, we got an elf coming on next. This is KPV. What's going on, KPV?
Not good. Just still pissed from last night. I never want to see that twat again.
Which one?
Yeah, which one? Last night.
The ref. I don't know what he was thinking. Like, you saw it. You were there. Kane was not offside. Like, and now people on Twitter are saying he was. Like, get a bloody grip, you fucking twit. He was not offside.
Kyle.
He's not. The Kane. No, I've got Man United fans saying he was.
Kyle, the Kane offside, if you just want to take that in an isolated situation, it was called offside by the automated VAR, semi-automated VAR, so they can't really be wrong on that situation. The situation is if you think it was intentional or not intentional from coming off the player, the Sporting Lisbon player.
Well, I'm going to say again, it touched the Lisbon player first. Like, I saw it. And, like, Conte has every right to be angry. And Hoiberg said to the ref, I'm not fucking shake your hand after the game. Our Vikings. So I do not want to see that ref again. And luckily, I found his Facebook profile. His name's Danny McAlay. So I don't want to see that referee in our home games or away games. So then, if he does, then he will leave me no choice but to give him a claymore. So welcome to
Claymore.
Country.
Share
Welcome
Claymore.
to Claymore. Claymore. Drew McIntyre. You know he does the countdown 3, 2, 1. Like he normally does it. Like welcome to Claymore country, you fucking bitch. Referee in our games again. I'll just give him a smack in the face. I can't stand him. As you know, he was the referee for the Champions League final in Madrid, and they didn't have a look at it for Sissoko. Touched here, not here. Bitch, I can't stand him.
Kyle,
Hopefully,
Kyle, are we going to do the job in Marseille?
we better do because the draw guarantees us through. Like we just need to beat Marseille and hope those Portuguese twats lose to Frankfurt. Like I think, but
Doesn't matter if we win in Marseille. It doesn't matter what anyone else does.
Well, fair enough. Well, we're still going to get the job done. Like we were robbed yesterday. We deserved the win, and apparently one Sport Lisbon fan even agreed on David's channel. We were robbed, but finally we're getting some respect around here. Like, but happy birthday to the legend that is Glenn Hoddle.
Happy birthday to Glenn. Happy birthday, Glenn.
Yeah, the worst pundit though, he said some stuff about club yesterday though. Like the fans are gonna stop going because of this shit performance. Like
will you stop going, Carl?
We will stop. Well, if it continues, then yes, but I'm gonna go to a home game in the new year. Like just get the job done, do not let me down. And I just don't want Bayern Munich because if we finish second, then we don't play them, right?
Bayern,
it's a draw, isn't it? It's a draw.
Bayern first.
No, if we finish second, we can play them. Yeah,
exactly. If we finish second, we can. If we finish top, we can't.
Well, I just want to finish top, man, because I don't want to play them if we finish second because I won't be watching because we'll just lose that bigger scoreline we did 3 seasons ago. So, top, please, boys, finish top. And Harry Kane's disappointed. The players were, but first off, I'm going to say big up to Ben Teckers or Ben Tancourt, but Ben Teckers. Brilliant performance. Like, they can moan all they want. Ben Tancourt was ahead of the goalkeeper. Brilliant goal. Second home goal of the season. Like, first in the Champions League. Brian Hill Messi. Brilliant performance. Starting at Bournemouth. Like, sorry to all the Ronaldo fan club, but it's time Brian Hill Messi started ahead of him. Like, bring him off the bench as he did against Leicester, hat-trick. So, it's time we started Hill Messi ahead of Ronaldo. So, sorry to all the people who are massive Ronaldo fans, but I just want Brian Hill Messi to start. We have another Messi now.
You want the front three to be Hill, Moura and Kane? Or you want to play 3-5-2 with Gill and Kane up top?
3-5-2, mate. Harry Clark saying Brian Hill. And it's not Emerson Royale now because it's Emerson Chicken Royale. David said that yesterday. And so, yeah, this weekend away at Bournemouth, Kane loves the goal against them. I think it's got, what, 5 or 6? Son got a few. So, Bournemouth away, I think we'll easily get the job done now. And then focus on Tuesday before we play Forest and Liverpool. So, let's concentrate on them 2 games before we play the others. And let's just get the job done. Spurs, do not let us down. Enough letting us down. All right, boys.
Big up, KPV. Thanks for coming on today, my friend.
And
we shall see you next time.
Leave the fucking parasite out. See you, mate. I'm off. Listen to let the dogs out.
See you later.
Enjoy it, Carl.
Kyle's on one today.
He was.
He
not
was
happy.
on one today.
Not
Bloody
happy
hell.
he is today, Kyle.
But I think we're going to go to the other extreme now. We're going to get Grandpa Brian on. Let's see what he has to say. Grandpa, how are you today?
I'm really good. I'm really good.
It's
really
good to
happy.
see you again. Good to hear that you're happy. I mean, it wasn't a great first half, but I think on the balance of play in terms of the whole game, we thoroughly deserved the win yesterday, didn't we?
Absolutely. I think for me, there's a massive positive, which included the game against Newcastle. I think there was a real positive in the fact that we can demonstrate that we've got some good players and they're playing well together. And Conte's bringing the best out of them as we go along. I think there's a problem in tiredness because of so many matches, and our injuries have actually stopped him changing people over. I think that's been a problem for him. But nevertheless, we've got a good team there. A couple more buys that we get will really put us on top and give us enough players if we get injuries that we can actually use other people. But I am really positive that everybody should be seeing that we've got a good team. The fact that we get beaten now and again, I mean, these things are happening in football all the time. Incredible games has been where people have lost when they should have won and won when they should have lost. Because that is the nature of the game. Very, very small things. Little bits of luck or little bits of bad luck make a difference. And I'm still very, very positive about Conte and the players that we've got. And we've had some bad luck. We've had some bad luck, probably some bad decisions. But
yeah, talking about bad decisions, obviously having slept on the late goal that we scored. I don't know if you've had the chance to see it again. Do you still what do you feel like? What do you feel about that goal now? Maybe hearing what other people have had to say about it, having seen it again for yourself. Do you have any different opinions to maybe yesterday?
No, I don't think there was it was clear. And the fact that it wasn't clear, they should have awarded it to us. It was a very, very fine difference, and I'm not sure whether it's truly offside as it's come off of one of their defender. So I don't know, but I think it was a fine decision, and it should have gone for us. But in the end, I'm not like a lot of your other viewers believe that we should stop VAR. I think we should be a bit more sophisticated. Brian Daigle made one or two good points that if it's going to take 4 minutes, it's a nonsense. It spoils the whole game and the whole flow of it. And we should make the decision based on the referee in that few minutes, because if it's not definitely a wrong decision, we should make it quickly.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
absolutely.
we should have won that, but we didn't. And let's make sure that our team are on top form when we play Marseille.
Talking of Brian's grandpa, Brian Hill came off the bench yesterday and had a pretty good game. What do you think about maybe starting him on Saturday, or do you think still he has to show a bit more?
I think we've got to give him a go. I mean, when he came on, the energy was, to be fair, the energy was already there. The second half, I don't think we stopped being busy, moving. Everybody was moving all the time, and with one aim to score a goal. And when Brian came on, he added to that energy. I think the energy was already there, but he added to it. And I think we've just got to see him and give him a chance to see whether he will do it. But the only way we can do it really is have three up front.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we will probably do that, but maybe against Bournemouth.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. Do it against Bournemouth and see how it works.
Who else impressed you yesterday, Grandpa?
Oh, I think that Romero was outstanding. I think if we had Romero with Newcastle, we wouldn't have lost. Romero was really outstanding. Doherty was terrible. I prefer not to be there. Emerson, my favourite player, but I still believe that he's got more quality than Doherty, in my own view. And the one mistake I felt that Conte, one of the mistakes, well, the one mistake that Conte made really was not bringing Sessing on earlier, because that guy's in form at the moment, and we needed people that were in form on there.
To be fair, though, Grandpa,
not take off.
If he would have taken off Perisic, then we might not have scored the equaliser, because he's the one that assisted it from the corner.
I don't think he should have taken Perisic. Perisic can play on both sides.
Fair enough.
I think he should have come over and made
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. Yeah,
that's my view.
Talking about
he can play on both sides.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But talking about Conte, he was very, very emotional and angry after the game, maybe because of the VAR brawl, because of the VAR decision in general. He stormed out of his press conference after one question, talking about how the VAR decision has really damaged the club, because, you know, now we have to go next week to Marseille, and it's an open game, and we have to get a result now. With Conte, and obviously he got sent off after the goal got disallowed as well, and he was quite emotional. And when you see that from your manager, is that do you think that's good leadership, or maybe he should be a bit calmer in those kind of situations?
I think in view of what's happened with him in the past few matches, I think he should be more careful. But you can't ignore his passion. You know, and that goes on to the players. And there's no doubt that after half time, you know, after the interval, that he had a real go at the players. And I think that really, the fact that he'd done that, and they'd done everything he could have ever asked him for in that second half, and then gets that decision against him, you can't blame him. You can't blame him so much. I think he's a good leader. He's bringing our team on. I'm 100% behind him. Yes, a bit more careful, but I think that's difficult when you're very passionate about something.
And it's great, yeah.
That's my view.
True. Yeah, that's fair enough, and it's good to see that how much he cares and how passionate he is, and he just wants what's best for us, doesn't he? And that
you don't want to put Conte's fire out.
That's absolutely the right thing. That's the right thing. Yeah. Give him lots of give him lots of freedom, and the fires that should be put out is some of the booing from our.
I completely agree.
Our people, you know, you booed them out when they came out at halftime. Did that mean when they came in after halftime? Does that mean that the players are going to play better because they booed him? I don't think so. Conte would have done the job. Yeah, they might have said that, but I don't believe that. I believe that Conte will do that for us. I think he could have been just quiet, not necessarily booed them, because that's just so off-putting to the individuals. You know, we spent all that money building them up by having all those flags up, and you know, that was all about making the players feel good when they came on, and then we make them feel bad. No, I disagree with it. But there you go. You can't stop the fans. You can't do anything about it. We can only be who we are. You are as we are Tottenham TV, to put the views as cleanly and as properly as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, completely agree, Grandpa. I completely disagree with the booing. But thanks for coming on today. As always, some wise words of wisdom, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
See you, Grandpa. See you soon. Always settles me down.
Yeah, always a calming voice with some good reasoning there. But do we have anyone else? Yeah. We do. We have more people. We're just getting them lined up as we speak.
Who is it?
Oh.
All right.
I think the internet's a bit too poor here.
Can we get
Not. It's very pixelated and laggy.
Hello, can you hear us?
I don't
Alex Samuel says he's trying to get in the back end as well.
All right. Is there anyone else going to come on or what? Yeah, I guess. I can hear Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet does look a bit better now.
All right.
Go on, bring him on.
Hello?
Stelios.
How you doing, guys? You okay?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Listen, guys, if the internet breaks up, I can jump off. Okay, so just give me like the thumbs up saying, "Stel, internet's not good."
You are ready. You're a bit laggy as we speak. You're moving in like slow motion a bit.
All right, I'll jump off. Don't worry about it. The internet's not doing well.
All right.
Can you hear us? All right, I'm gonna. He's jumping off. All right.
Do we have anyone else lined up?
Is it? Alex said he was waiting to come on here.
Oh, here we go. Alex Samuels, long time no speak. We'll bring him on in just a second. Also a bit pixelated.
He seems to, a bit pixelated, but he seems to be.
Push him through. Alex, how's it going, man? I can't hear you. Are you on mute? There you go. I can hear you.
There you go. You're all good now.
Okay.
How you doing, Alex?
Hey, guys.
At the game yesterday?
He was.
Yeah,
I
I was
saw
there.
Oh, you saw him?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you see him?
Oh no, was that Newcastle? I saw you.
Yeah, that was Newcastle.
Oh yeah, it was Newcastle. I saw him.
Okay.
So it wasn't his.
But no, I was there.
What did you make out of the game? Run me through your thoughts on just as a whole.
Well, first I was bored during the game, especially the first half. I was we weren't really attacking. It felt like we had the handbrake on. It just didn't. Nothing was really happening in the game. What was more embarrassing, I felt, than anything, was how Sporting were playing the exact same system as us, with the 3-4 or 3-5-2, whatever, or 3-5-3, whatever it is. They were playing the exact same way as us, and yet they were also doing it better than us. And this is a Conte team who you'd expect to be outperforming teams like that. So I thought it was really concerning. Now, obviously, in the second half, things did get better. We got the equaliser, and then the end happened.
Yeah, talk to me about the end, because did you think it should have been given? Oh, he's crashed now.
No, he's still
Hello?
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
you're still
back.
there.
Sorry, yeah. And then problems clearly at the end, and issue and that annoying goal that never was.
Yeah, what was your having seen it? Maybe slept on that goal. How would you have your feelings changed on it? Are you still as angry about it?
I feel like you've got to have faith in VAR, and what it is, and the system. Now, clearly, that hasn't benefited us a number of times in recent seasons. But looking back at it, I actually think it was the right decision to disallow it. Overall, I do think that was correct. And as annoying as it is, I'd love to sit down here and say, "Oh, I think it was rubbish, corruption, etc." But I do think it was the right decision. With these sorts of things, I like to exaggerate them. So, for example, like let's say, like all the players were placed at really wide distances. Kane was offside. The ball was Emerson, and then the Sporting player was quite a far distance away. And imagine the ball went and hit the Sporting player and just happened to roll back to Kane and he's offside. It would still be offside, and that's how I imagine if you just exaggerate them. And so from that, it is 100% a disallowed goal. Unfortunately.
But let me ask you this: obviously, when it's offside, and obviously the direction of the ball does make a difference, all that kind of stuff. But they have all semi-automated offsides, right? So they knew it was offside within a few seconds of the incident. That wasn't what they were checking for. They were checking. The reason it took so long is to see if there was a deliberate action from the defender. Now, if you're taking 4 minutes to decide whether that was a deliberate action from the defender or not, surely it's not clear and obvious, and surely you just go with the on-field decision, don't you? Or do you think it was right to take that long amount of time?
In my opinion, as my opinion, I feel like I would rather get the right decision. But I would also say that that it should not be taking that amount of time. And I can then also see why people might say, okay, then is it a clear and obvious error? Because that is the whole point of VAR. It's those words, clear and obvious, clearing up, because it wasn't meant to just be a as in there's no referee on the pitch and it's just people upstairs doing the VAR refereeing the game. That's not what VR was meant to do. It was meant to be assisting the referee in making decisions. So I can see that, but for me personally, and this isn't what VAR's for, but it's just my opinion, I'd rather that we got to the right decision in the end, which unfortunately they did.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But, like, the thing to be more aggrieved about is really that we didn't get that second goal. We didn't score 2 goals in that second half because we were so on top. And for the amount of chances we had, we most definitely should have won that game, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had a lot of chances, but I do think that first half was so bad that, you could argue that Sporting, while maybe we deserved to go ahead in the end, Sporting were also, I think, valued for a point based on that first half performance. I just don't understand. We have this really consistent pattern of first 10 minutes we go out there, do actually pretty well, start the game off, then for the rest of the first half let the other team dominate and just go into our shell, and then sometimes in the second half you get a reaction, sometimes you don't, like Manchester United. So I don't get it. I don't get what's happening.
Well, Alex, listening to, maybe this could go some way to explaining it. Listening to Hugo Lloris after the game, he was saying that due to the schedule, it's very hard for this team to play at the intensity that they want to play for the whole 90 minutes. And he said, obviously, in the second half, how we played in the second half yesterday is how they want to play. But he's saying that due to the schedule, there is naturally going to be 20 or 30-minute periods in games where they can't match that intensity for the whole game. And he said it's their job during those moments to stay compact and make sure they don't concede any chances and defend properly. And is that what we're seeing at the moment? Or is that not a good enough excuse?
That's fair enough, because in football works, and you have these kind of waves of for some periods we'll have more of the ball, for some periods the other team will have more of the ball. That's how football works. That's always been a thing, because it's impossible to keep up that intensity for the entire game. I agree with that. What I still don't understand then is why you see other teams potentially doing it. Maybe they have rotation options. So when you talk
about other teams, Alex, you're pretty much just talking about City and Arsenal right now. Surely, who else are you talking about?
Yeah, I'd say probably Chelsea at the moment as well. You can probably throw them in. But those are the teams we should be competing with. That's the whole.
Yeah, but also when you look at it, Arsenal have had 3 poor displays in a row now. When you take into account Europa League, Man City as well. I mean, they can win games without getting out of first gear. How good they are in possession. You know what I mean? So maybe they don't need to exert as much energy as we do to win games.
Yeah, but then again, we have I think we have an okay bench. It's nothing great. I know we have a lot of injuries at the moment. Well, two huge injuries actually, which I think have 100% without a doubt affected our ability to recover from games and to switch in. I know Brian Hill was excellent when he came on last night, but when he came on, I was thinking, oh god, Conte must really think we really just got to throw the dice here and see what happens, because who knows how he's going to play, Brian Hill. So
Oh, was he gone?
All right, I think the internet is finally packed in Alex's house, so I think we're going to have to move on there, unless he's there. Is he there? Nah, I think his internet's packed in. All right. I think that's that. Thanks, Alex, for coming on, by the way.
Nice to see him. Very nice
to see you, Alex. Is there anyone else? All right, we'll leave it there for today. Player ratings and 5 takeaways coming your way, as well as an episode of Predict the Prem as well. So keep your eyes out for that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Sorry about the lags right at the end of the stream, but it is what it is. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.